Today on Hampton Roads Business Weekly, we'll give you a taste of Hampton Roads. Learn how a passion for fresh and local food led one couple to form their own business.
Plus, the head of an area software consulting firm reveals his secrets to building office camaraderie. Hampton Roads Business Weekly starts right now. Hello and welcome to Hampton Roads Business Weekly. I'm Zach Miller.
And I'm Cheryl Tan. This week we're talking about passion, the desire to create or build, to put something out into the world. It's passion that leads most entrepreneurs into starting their own businesses.
I spoke with Mary Jo Burchard, an organizational consultant and Regent University alum. We talked about how business owners can spot and cultivate an employee's passion and the huge benefits that it can have on company morale. So a lot of people talk about the way to have better company morale is to bring everyone together, to communicate with them, to find ways to maybe give them catered lunches or take them to Busch Gardens or maybe pay for their insurance. But do those things work? Is that really the things that those companies are looking for and those people are looking for?
When people get hired, and when you hire the people for your organization, typically what separates a good prospective person from a great prospective person is the passion. Not the know-how, but the passion. And so people bring that passion for whatever it is that they're doing, that they are perceiving, they share with your organization. And if they can't find a way to bring that passion to work, if they find that when they get there, they have to leave that passion alone because there's a certain way that you have always done things and you're not open to hearing new ideas or those sort of things, what will end up happening is they will get the message that they're there to do a job, not to bring everything that they have into that job.
Collaboration is a big buzzword. I think you're talking about that a lot right now. How can a company that might have been very big cube farm and now wants to have long tables, and then now there's 5 generations in the workplace for the first time ever, how do they kind of understand that collaboration piece when there's different generations across the board?
That's a great question. I think part of it is you may need to get out of the workplace for a little bit. Go do something and get to know each other as humans.
So take those employees, take the teams, and get them out of the workplace and get them to do something that's not related to that direct task that they have to do.
Yes. Get them to do something that's going to get them into that altered state of play. Because in that altered state of play, we're no longer in fight or flight. We're no longer in a place of fear of doing something wrong. We can find ourselves able to recontextualize one another and see each other as people. Then you can take that context back into the workplace and remember, oh yeah, he's also the guy who I beat at Monopoly or whatever it is. Sure. It doesn't have to be expensive, but get them out of the labor,
yeah.
The labor. And you can do that in the workplace as well, but get them playing together, even briefly, so that they can recontextualize one another as human beings instead of this is the person who does this task and that's the person who does that task. That would be one thing. The other thing is aesthetics. It's so much more than tearing down cubicles and making long tables, but allowing, changing the lighting and changing the ambiance so that it sends messages. Everything from the color of the walls to the lighting to how many windows there are, all of those things can send messages to people about whether or not you see them as human beings or people in a gerbil cage, And so things that you can do to even brighten the aesthetics and allow people to bring in things from home that remind them why they're there. Those things can help.
So don't say
morale.
Just go play. Put the surroundings and make it so that they can go play and enjoy.
Yes, and play doesn't have to be separate from work. That's a big part of the problem is that we have so said play over there and then work here. I kind of think about if people could just have a word for play that didn't scare them, like plurk, playing at work, so that it's productive, so that people don't feel guilty. I did.
Okay.
If it's productive, it's to help them become more creative. If you have some place even There's places in Japan that have a playroom in the workplace that just has a place where they can draw or punch a punching bag or just different things like that, play, so that they can come back and clear their heads. They're in that altered state of play, and something that wasn't making sense before, now they have the clarity to be able to do it, you know. So it can be something just as simple as that, changing your mindset toward play. It doesn't always have to be away, but it needs to be away here.
Great.
Okay.
We're back with more Hampton Roads Business Weekly and our Entrepreneur of the Week. This is a segment where we highlight local entrepreneurs making an impact right here in Hampton Roads.
I spent some time with Cheryl Hahn, owner of Cozy Pure, a company that manufactures organic bedding and mattresses. We talked about how her passion led her from selling all natural organic products to making her own.
You have to love what you're doing, because you're going to be working at 24/7. There is no 9 to 5, it's 24/7.
I am thrilled to introduce you to Cheryl Hahn, the owner of Cozy Pure, an all-natural and organic bedding company based in Norfolk. And you're our Entrepreneur of the Week. Cheryl, congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. I'm honored.
People may remember Cozy Pure in different locations throughout Hampton Roads. Right now, it's on Granby Street in Norfolk in a 25,000 square foot facility. Quite a jump. How did you get your beginning as a business person?
Well, the beginning was Tomorrow's World. We were a green retail store, and we sold everything green, from organic bedding to t-shirts to compact fluorescent light bulbs and shower heads. So this was way before anyone else did that. And when it started to show on the shelves of the hardware stores, I decided to just focus on the bedding part, the soft goods, because that's my background anyway. And as far as manufacturing, and I really wanted to embrace Made in America and start doing everything right here in our own workshop.
You're really passionate about that,
Yes.
about creating your own
Yes.
and creating your own all-natural products. How was that switch, though, from selling somebody else's products to making your own? There had to have been a huge learning curve.
It was really huge. I mean, way in the beginning, we would contract out those services, and then we found out, like, a lot of what the companies that we were working with started to go overseas, and I just really have a passion for Made in the USA. So it was something that we just started to do, and started slow and built it up, and there are still a lot of challenges in finding. This is like a lost art. So we do have challenges, but you know, for the most part, we bring a lot of people on and we can train them.
Let's talk about the growth. You started in many different locations. I think you told me 10 moves you've made
10 moves,
before you moved to this location on Granby Street. What were some of those challenges in moving and finding different spaces and making that decision to grow?
Well, the challenge with growing is it's something you have to be really mindful of, the management of the growth of a company. Any entrepreneur will tell you that. And in my case, I was raising kids at the same time. So actually, the business is older than the kids. I had my first daughter, my daughter, my firstborn, 4 years into the business, and my son came 2 years after that. So I literally was trying to manage the company and the kids at the same time. And contrary to what people say, it can be really challenging. There was a part of me that wanted to grow the business at that time, but I was fearful of losing the little time I already had with them. So I had to it was a conscious decision actually not to grow to a larger level anyway until they were at least out of high school. And my son graduated high school a year and a half ago, and that's when I decided, okay, now let's look at larger space, because that's the other thing when you're growing. You outgrow your space because you need more space for inventory. And then you have the challenge of hiring staff that can represent your company and have your vision with you. So and then of course you have to watch your cash flow too, because those more inventory, more people is more payroll and more cash. So there's all of these things that you have to keep your eye on as you're growing, and there's different phases of that growth. You know, 3 employees or 1 employee to 3 to 5 to 10 and over 10, they're so different, the phases of the management in that.
So let's say you have entrepreneurs at home who are interested in creating, just as you have, creating everything in one space like you have done. What would your suggestions be for them?
Well, number one, just like any entrepreneur, you have to love what you're doing because you're going to be working it 24/7. There is no 9 to 5, it's 24/7. And that passion will fuel you to find a way. It's going to be difficult. You're going, depending on what type of manufacturing you're doing, you know, we lost so many jobs to manufacturing. So like this trade especially, there's hardly any cut and sews in America anymore. So I guess it really depends also on what type of manufacturing you're doing. But if you've got the will, I do believe in that. If you have the will, there will be a way. You will find it. But you have to really want to, you have to have the passion, and the doors will open, opportunities will show for you.
Cheryl Hahn, thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Welcome back to Hampton Roads Business Weekly. We are here with the founder of 80/20, a software consulting shop here in downtown Norfolk, with Eric Olson. Eric, great to have you.
Hey, Zach. Thanks for having me.
How did you come up with the idea to start your own software company?
Well, it was about 3.5 years ago. I was doing a lot of work for the Navy, and I was working on a large program that was coming up for rebid, and I realized that the rebid process was out of my control. I'd been doing Navy contracting for about 9 years, and I was looking to make a change. So when the opportunity presented itself, when the contract was up for rebid, I decided instead of taking my chances with the rebid, I was going to try to get some commercial work.
And so you started 80/20, which is about 2 years
2.5
old
years
now.
old, yep.
But this isn't your first rodeo. You had gone and had the entrepreneurial itch a couple other times. How did that experience get you ready for this one?
A lot of lessons learned. So I made a lot of mistakes over the years. I've had a couple different companies. Honestly, none of them were huge successes. Each one of them I shut down after a couple of years. But each one of them, I actually learned several things about what I should do and shouldn't do going forward.
And so how often are you looking at that chart saying, I got to make sure I don't do this thing again? Or have you ever tried looking at it and saying, okay, I lost here, right? I didn't work this way, but could I just tweak it a little bit to make it work this next time?
Well, as far as like the lessons learned from before, I carry that over into what I do now. But I don't really look at that chart on a day in and day out basis. But what I do is, as things come up in this business now on a day-to-day basis, I should say, we do lessons learned. So we do it as a team. So after an event, we do a lessons learned session. At the end of a project, during a project.
So lessons learned is like a debrief of what happened?
It's basically the team getting together and talking about what went well, what went poorly, what we could do to avoid the poor situations going forward. So we're trying to incrementally improve as we actually perform the work.
What are some other ways that you've been able to get the team to work better together? What's worked and what hasn't?
Well, so we're a consulting company, which means that we're a lot of times we're running around town helping various clients. So on any given day, this office could be empty or it could be completely full with everyone on the team. So since we're kind of like sometimes passing each other, what we realize we need to do is try to foster a sense of teamwork. So we'll do things like meet for lunch every week or two. We have a standing every other week lunch that the company puts on. We pick a location, we all meet there. I pay for it. It's not that much money, honestly, but it builds up teamwork and camaraderie. That helps a lot.
Do you have a line item in your kind of plan for the future for team building, business morale?
No, but I have a sense of how much it costs, and it's really not that much money. So there's 9 of us right now. For all of us to go to lunch, it costs something like $80 or $90. It's peanuts. It's nothing. If you have a team that is actually working much better together and it only costs you $90 every 2 weeks, it's well worth the money. Absolutely.
So one of your strategies, not only to grow as a business, but also from a team building perspective, is to send your team to conferences and also host a conference. How have you figured that is a good solution for you to grow in some of those respects?
Sure. So once a year we take everyone in the company, the developers in particular, to a software development conference. This past July we went to Knoxville, And it's a great opportunity to learn more about what we do day in and day out.
So you guys collectively as a group decide we want to go to that conference, and that's the one? Or?
That's right. Yep. So we all went out there. We flew out to Knoxville, and we spent 2 or 3 days out there for a 2-day conference. We get exposed to new things in the industry. We get to see what other people are doing, and we get to bring that information back into our work and try different things, different technologies. So we did that. We also do once a month what we call tech sessions. Mm-hmm. A tech session is where we all get together and someone presents on something that they're doing that's interesting. Something that maybe has nothing to do with any of the projects that we're actually working on, but it's something that they're working on as like a hobby, a pet project.
And you distribute that just internally?
Well, we do it internally. It's primarily for internal training purposes where we train each other,
Yep.
But then we also broadcast it for the larger software development community. So we do it for team building and for training, but then we broadcast it really for the good of the community and then also for business development purposes.
Great. Thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Hampton Roads Business Weekly and the one thing entrepreneurs do that lead to their success. So thrilled to introduce you to Lisa Hammaker, the co-founder of Taste Tidewater Tours. The business is about 4 years old, but you've had quite a bit of growth over the last 4 years. So first, Lisa, talk to us about how you got your start as an entrepreneur.
Certainly. So my husband Rex and I met our first day at Cox High School, been together 38 years, but in 2006 we had a health scare and did a complete lifestyle change and started eating fresh and local and realized that this was one of the best food sheds in the entire country between the seafood, the agriculture, and now the award-winning wineries and craft breweries. Really the mother of American cuisine was birthed right here, and we wanted to start showcasing the region ourselves, so we bought a coach and got started.
You created this solution to something you saw that wasn't being met, like a need that wasn't being met.
Absolutely.
So how has that growth happened? What kind of reaction did you get from people, and what kinds of surprises did you find along the way?
It's been an interesting journey. Initially we thought that being a tourist area, it would be primarily tourists as our clients, when in fact, as it turned out, 90% of our clients are locals. We realize that there's 1.5 million people here who enjoy learning what's right in their own backyard, the abundance of coastal Virginia.
So as far as some challenges in growth, as more people learn about your service and also learn about the places that you visit, what are the challenges in meeting that demand?
So one of the challenges is reaching the audience, and initially we had spent quite a bit of money in advertising. And yet we've been adapting then because of the locals being our primary client base. How do you reach the locals, and then what are they interested in?
Take us on a tour of maybe one of your most popular rides.
Well, we are edutainment. We're not the party bus. It's a lot of fun, but you will be picked up from a convenient location, and the coach is limited to 12 for an intimate experience. And then we'll go to at least 3 locations, all of which have been prearranged. We work very closely with our brewery, winery, and restaurant partners. So we're going to go over craft beer 101, wine 101, history, styles, production, how to pair with local cuisine. We do personal palate chats, so we talk about what Cheryl likes to eat, and then we can then pair that with beers we feel like you'd probably enjoy, and wines, and then cuisine as well. Typically you get that VIP backstage experience that you just cannot get by just driving there.
Right. You mentioned that advertising didn't work, didn't reach the people you were trying to reach, but that social media actually was something that worked. How did you make that work for your company?
So social media, I feel, is really one of the biggest reasons for our success. We primarily use forms of Facebook, which then automatically goes to Twitter, and then Instagram. So providing consistent quality content, we feel, has stood us well.
Content is one of those things. People hear content is king, make content, create content, and so maybe they're wondering what exactly that means. But I know you were saying to me that content is just like behind the scenes at a brewery or a winery. Is that right?
So for us, we provide reviews of the different restaurants, for instance, who feature the local cuisine, local beers, local wines, and get that exposure. in addition to providing, frankly, as I say, it's eye candy, that the pictures alone will just sell. People want to see, well, where are they now? What are they doing? And then providing information that is up to the minute, and again, that they might not get in other ways, and then access, because we're behind the scenes and we get access that others would not. So giving the potential clients out there that look behind the curtain.
Right. The segment is entitled The One Thing. What would you say is the one thing that has led to your success?
I would absolutely say that it is social media. We have wonderful repeat business and referral business, but really it's organic web searches. That's where we get so many of our bookings.
Lisa Hamaker, congratulations. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
That wraps up another edition of Hampton Roads Business Weekly. You can like us on Facebook and Instagram at HR Business Weekly.
There, you will find segments from previous shows, plus some great behind-the-scenes pictures and videos. For Hampton Roads Business Weekly, I'm Zach Miller.
And I'm Cheryl Tan. We'll see you next week.
Hampton Roads Business Weekly, sponsored by Regent University and produced by ABC 13.
3, 2. What's up, 3, 2. What's up, 3, 2. Welcome to Hampton Roads Business Weekly. I'm just it's the glass.